podcast show for business owners and managers who are passionate about developing people and growing a successful business. And now here's your host, Alistair Booth from the HR Booth.
Hello and welcome to this Lightning Podcast. In this Lightning Podcast, I'm going to be discussing the 3 top recruitment mistakes that we see in businesses. So just want to kind of share some insight into that. To be fair, there's probably a lot more mistakes than 3, but we're just going to kind of share what I think is the top 3 mistakes that we see quite often, through our experience with the clients that we've worked with and other organisations that we've perhaps worked in over a period of time as well. So one of the kind of common mistakes is perhaps rushing the kind of hire. So sometimes you might have a bit of panic sets in, you've got a new customer, someone's left the business, and you're very quickly having to go out to the job market and hire someone. You might hire someone who is immediately available, but what you might not do is consider things like culture add. Are they going to bring the right kind of skill set to the business? You might decide to skip a part of the interview process to kind of rush that as well, so you maybe don't follow up on specific kind of questions. And you might just kind of bypass part of your kind of process. So what that enables you to do is to maybe hire somebody quickly, but it might not necessarily be the right person. And quite often that could then lead to mistakes kind of later on down the line. So the real cost of kind of getting that wrong could be in terms of productivity. It could impact on team morale, and it could impact on the cost as well. So that's things to consider there in terms of rushing it. Second one that we see quite a bit is perhaps maybe writing a vague or unrealistic job description and job advert. So what that kind of does is it probably doesn't enable you to attract the right calibre candidate. So you might be missing out on some really good talented people. And you might also be attracting the wrong type of candidates as well, which impacts on your kind of time and efforts throughout that recruitment process. And sometimes if the job description or the job advert is a little bit overinflated, it might actually put some people off applying. So you need to kind of think about the types of adverts that you're kind of putting out there as well. Sometimes mismatched roles might lead to some issues early on in terms of expectations. So candidates might have had a different expectation versus what happens in kind of reality. So what you need to kind of think about is the kind of clarity of the job advert and the job description, and making sure that attracts the right kind of quality of people. So have a look at your job descriptions and job adverts. And the final thing that probably see sometimes coming up is probably employers maybe ruling out potentially good candidates because the CV doesn't look great, or they maybe think they don't have the right kind of skill set. So CVs can be a bit misleading. We always kind of talk about kind of hiring for attitude and training for skill. So if you're kind of focused purely on the kind of past experience, you might be missing out on really good candidates. And what you need to kind of remember is that, a skill is something that could potentially be taught, and a mindset is kind of sometimes quite harder to kind of change. So you need to kind of think about these things as you go through the interview kind of process as well, but just thinking about how you actually attract people. So, some people, maybe just don't have a great CV, but they might actually be the right person. So think about other methods in which you can use. So, you might want to think about an online assessment, it might be a technical assessment, it might be a personality kind of profile, and see how that adds that kind of potential candidate could add value to your business. So definitely 3 things to think about. So as I said, they're kind of rushing the hire, thinking about the job advert, and also thinking about the skills that someone might have in the advert, in their CV. So as I said at the beginning, probably more than 3, but that's the 3 things that we're going to share with you just now. But any questions on recruitment, any questions on anything HR related, you know how to contact us. And thanks for tuning in.